Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sober Grind podcast. We are back, and this is Pej, and I'm with my boy, my main man, Austin.
Hello, Pej. Episode 5. Can you believe it? I can't believe we made it this far already.
Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So, what's your name and how long have you been sober?
My name is Cindy Johnson, and actually on the 24th of this month, I'll be 5.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's amazing. When did you first realize that you needed to make a change in your life and seek sobriety?
Well, it happened kind of a long time ago. Around 2001 or 2002, I wanted to kill myself. And at that point, I just had a nice cocaine addiction at that point.
Yeah.
But it was enough. I mean, it was the darkest time I ever knew. But, and I went to treatment for the first time up in LA. And the sobriety lasted about 6 months. That was the only period of sobriety I ever had. That 6 months for about, 10 or 13 years after that, bring it to this period of sobriety. I, finally got it. I stayed in AA. I was, introduced to AA back then and, just kind of stuck around, went to meetings and stuff, sort of gave up my life in, drugs before that, but, just never gave up the substances, gave up the friends and then dove into meetings and stuff and the fellowship, but I could never get off of what I was taking,
Gotcha. So what was that aha moment that finally clicked in your head?
Well, I mean, for someone like me, I had to be kind of shown the aha moment because, a lot of things had happened up until, 2013 when I got my third DUI. I, landed in jail and I basically had no choice. It was done. I just kind of had that was a definite aha moment lying in jail. I was about to die. My body had been through so much at that point. I was 115 pounds. I'm 150 today, healthy. And
That's
my
great.
body was shutting down and I was like, okay, this is it. I had a kid at that point. I got pregnant when I was 28 and went through a horrible detox, still didn't get sober. Got on drugs in the, delivery room. But, and that wasn't enough. My kid even downed a bottle of Klonopin from my purse, didn't get sober after that, but, was in hell up until he was about 3 years old was when I got sober. And I just couldn't do it myself. I could not get off of the crap I was taking.
Yeah, it's so hard.
I got off of, heroin and everything, sporadically was doing heroin all through the 2002 to 2010, but was on a bunch of opiate maintenance drugs up until that point too. And so for the better part of 10 years I was on and off Subutex and methadone and all those fun things. So then it was just a horrible detox, and that's what I was afraid of. So I just kept going with all those drugs. And then the third DUI, I was like, okay, this is my chance. I had my kid taken away from me. And that was my reason I was using, I have to take care of my son.
Yeah.
And I was just a horrible drug addict, a piece of shit, but still I thought I was doing something admirable or, the right thing. But the kid got taken from me, so I had no choice. I was like, okay, this is it. This is my chance. Yeah. I'm going to do it. And I just let go, finally surrendered. And,
so
that's
surrendering
when
was key?
Oh my God, for sure. That was the only way I could do this. And I had to do this gnarly ass court program where I had to pee in a cup several days a week. And, my life had basically been taken from me. So I had to throw myself into this new life. And, it was a lot of work, but, I'm just so glad that I did it.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
been incredibly worth it.
It's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
So do you have any happy moments that pop out in your mind since your sobriety?
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many. I'm a completely different person today. Like, there's nothing that resembles the life I had before. It's like,
That's
today
amazing.
is just night and day. I mean, if you knew me before I got sober, there's not that many people that knew me before, but the couple that do, they're like, you're a different person. This is like,
Wow.
it's like we get reborn. We get this other chance at a different life. It's kind of cool, actually, because a lot of people go through life and they don't get this opportunity to experience the darkness in such a gnarly way, and then to be reborn into a completely new way of living. And it's like, it's just a trip to me sometimes. And now I get to take other women through this way of living, and I get to see the light come on in their eyes, and it's like, it's just an amazing gift. I mean, that's definitely one of the bright spots in my life today, is sponsoring women. Like I told you, I'm meeting with one this morning right after this. And, those are definitely, I mean, I took up mountain biking. Like, that has been an incredible thing in my life. And I hike and I get out, in the wilderness, and
That sounds incredible.
there's a lot of fun to be had. I mean, that's like a myth, I think, in recovery, that people really think that fun is over, because like all their fun has been surrounded with drugs.
Right.
I've even volunteered at music festivals and stuff. Like, there's a sober group of us that go to music festivals and provide a safe place for other people who want to be sober and still experience, EDM and stuff. And so, I mean, there's like a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of fun moments I can think of.
Absolutely. That's great. So what advice would you give to anyone that may be listening to this and maybe they are struggling themselves with an addiction, or they're a parent or a loved one of someone that's struggling with an addiction?
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I work on a lot of people just entering this deal. I'm a massage therapist and I work at treatment centers, and I mean, I talk with people every day about this, and it's like, I just say, because a lot of them have never tried this before, and so I get to reach out to kids that are just starting this whole thing, and I always tell them, just give this a try. Like, I never gave this a try. Like, I was in a 12-step program for all of my 20s, and I never actually tried it. So I thought it didn't work, because I just didn't want to try it. I didn't want to do the things that people were trying to get me to do, like get commitments at meetings and work with a sponsor. And like, you got to find someone that has been through this and like latch onto them and follow them around and see what they're doing and do what they're doing, and that's what I wasn't willing to do before. And now I'm doing it, and my life is incredible. Like, it's just completely, like I just said, completely shifted, completely changed, and it just keeps getting better. Like, and now I see that there's like, anything is possible in this life. Really, I thought like I was going to die and like just get it right the next life, because I totally, believe in that. And it's just, this is the life. This is it. This is like my shot. Like, it's kind of, it is a trip. Every time I talk about it, it's like, this is like your chance. Like, you really can make it happen in this life. So, I mean, anyone that's like hasn't done this before, I tell them, like, go to meetings, like go to, whatever 12-step program like floats your boat, and find someone where you hear something that you relate to with that person, and just go up to them and say, oh my God, I relate to you. Can you help me? I want to do the steps, whatever it is that comes out of your mouth. I need help. And if they're working a program, they're going to be willing to work with you. So, I mean, this is what we do. We carry the message. We help each other. So, I mean, that's my advice, is like, go to a 12-step program, find someone you relate to, give this thing a shot, get away from the drug, whatever the hell it was you were taking, long enough for your light to shine through, because like the drug, we get stuck, trapped in like a cycle of like, this is my life, this is all I know, this is, da 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 da. It's like Groundhog Day. We wake up and it's the same shit, different day. SSD. So, I mean, it's like, we got to get out of that cycle, break the cycle, and like try a new routine. And it's really hard. I mean, I have girls today that I sponsor that are just like, how do I do this? I can't do this. There's no way I can, like, set reminders in your phone. I mean, they, like, forget, like, oh, yeah, there's a meeting tonight I just went to last week. But they're not going to remember because it's a whole different way to live, So,
Well,
I don't know. I could go on and on.
no, that's honestly just incredible. Thank you so much. You are a truly inspirational person, and
Oh, thank you.
this is very motivational and a lot of great advice. So thank you so much, Cindy.
Thank you for having me. Anytime.
So today we're talking about spirituality and the role it plays in recovery. This is very important for a lot of people out there. So I have a couple questions for you. Just to jump right in, what does spirituality mean to you?
Well, I mean, spirituality means, to me, what it means, and especially in recovery, it's soundness of mind, being centered with the universe, being at one with the universe, staying out of my head, not always stuck not worried about what's about to happen, and not being stuck in the past of what has happened, but just being in the moment and just
Being present.
being present, being good with myself, being good with the spirit, with the universe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So do you think spirituality or a higher power is a really important and key aspect to an individual's recovery?
Absolutely, because I think that when we are out in the trenches of addiction, our spirits are very tainted, sick. We aren't really in good spirits. We're drinking wine in spirits, or we are we think that we're having spiritual experiences, but I think that we're actually consumed by our ego, and we are so far gone that we have no concept of what true spiritual living is. So when we come into recovery, in order for us to be on a better path in life, I believe that we definitely want to build on our spiritual condition and become spiritually fit. But to each their own. I mean, some people, obviously, when you go into a 12-step program, they definitely, spirituality is key. Spiritual living is key. Some people don't believe in that. So, I mean, some people have different practices. There's yoga, there's meditation groups and meetings and retreats and things like that will get you connected with the spirit. You don't always necessarily have to do the 12 steps to get in touch with your spirit. I think it can definitely happen in many different aspects.
So that higher power, so to speak, doesn't necessarily need to be religion?
Higher power, I never really viewed it as religion. God and higher power, a lot of people think that when they hear the word spiritual or spirituality, the first thing that a lot of people think is that it has to do with religion. And I think that it absolutely does not have to do with religion. I think that religious people have spiritual practices or gain access into spirit through their religious practices. But, there's a saying that they say that religion is for people who are afraid to go to hell, and spirituality is for people who have already been there. It's a saying.
It's a great quote.
I love it. I've been to hell and back. So I know that when it comes to living a different lifestyle, I need to really be connected with my spirit, and I don't go to church. So I mean, I've gone to churches, and I've done all of my investigation in various respective churches in the area, but I don't follow any particular religion. I'm not a believer of religions. I am a believer of God. I definitely do think that higher power is necessary for me to move on. At first, my higher power has changed from thing to thing.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Well, because when I was brand new, I had this phobia of God within itself. I felt like in my life, if there was such thing as God had dealt me a bad hand due to a car accident that happened when I was 17 and somebody dying, due to the circumstances of my life, me going to jails, institutions, having near-death experiences. I felt like God just had it out for me if God is really there. Part of me wanted to think there's no such thing as God, but the other part of me is like, well, there's got to be something there because I didn't create myself. So this all came from something. In a scientific way, maybe it's some kind of creative intelligence, something larger than myself that I have no concept of. So when I came into recovery over a period of time, at first I thought, okay, well, perhaps it's the ocean. Somebody told me, like, do you think you can go down to the beach and make those waves move? Something's pushing those waves up. Is it you? Can you make the wind blow? No, I can't.
I
Can
wish. I wish I could.
Right? Can you go outside and turn day into night, like make the sun set on your terms? No, I can't. Something is doing all of this. So these little things. So I started, but first the ocean was my higher power. Then people in recovery were my higher power. They were a power greater than myself because it was a group of people who were staying sober, left to my own devices and my own thought process and my own decision making. I couldn't stay sober. So I would look up to these people, and I would if I had questions, it was Tom, Steve, Joe, and Michael. If I had questions, I would run my questions by Tom, Steve, Joe, and Michael. If decisions were going to happen, I'd ask them, and they were a power greater than me. These guys had extensive amount of years of sobriety, so I could bounce things off of them. They became my higher power. Then through prayer and meditation, I started to actually kind of just tap into something else that was, through blind faith, like I felt like there's something different.
Yeah.
It was like a spiritual practice within itself.
That's a great segue into my next question. So just kind of playing devil's advocate, what advice would you give to maybe an atheist or someone that says science causes the waves and the change from day to night, or maybe they're hopeless and don't want to believe in anything higher? How would they start with connecting with something bigger than themselves?
Well, if an atheist or an agnostic wanted to have a conversation with me and ask me for my opinion, I would tell them my opinion, and then I would respect their opinion too. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Voltaire said that even if God didn't exist, it would be necessary to invent one. Okay? So a lot of people are going to they're going to always take it back to science. Fine. There is science, right? So let's just say that this whole earth came from something. Let's say the Big Bang Theory. But what was before that? Like, where did that...
That's the question.
That's the question. And in scientific matters, people say, well, we don't know. Well, then it would be nothing. And if it was nothing, did nothing come from nothing? Because then it would be like nothingness. It's totally impossible. So I can't convince an atheist, you must believe in God. But where did science come from? From man. So men and women are scientists, and
the need to understand.
The need to understand, and science, in my opinion, is mostly all theoretical. Nothing is proven. It's all based off of theory. But
best guess, right?
Best guess, right? So we don't really know. But obviously, who created the scientists? Did they create themselves through scientific experiments and things? No. I believe that something greater than anything that's not understandable. It's just way more than anything that we can equate in our small minds, right? It's something that's done all this. And for me, then some people think, well, how are you going to relate that to something you need to pray to and make the most important thing? I just think it's, it's almighty. It's big. It's greater than any of us,
That's great.
Yeah.
And it seems like a rabbit hole that we could dive down forever if we
could.
continued that.
Absolutely.
So to kind of sidetrack a little bit, so the practice or act of prayer or meditation, what's your opinion on either or both of those, and if you've seen any benefits from practicing daily or practicing a little bit in general?
Well, for me, prayer and meditation, where they were professed, often people would talk about it in early recovery. I would hear a lot of people say that they hit their knees in the morning, they do a certain set of prayers, and at first I wasn't quite sure about the whole God thing. I didn't know what I was praying to. I thought if I get down on the floor and I'm on my knees, am I praying to the floor or to the wall? Because there was really no connection with anything outside of myself. So I was kind of just keeping it at a material level. You know what I mean? I was looking for something tangible. No connection to any kind of spirit. But over a period of time, I started to pray, and it was because somebody told me to humble myself to God. And I'm like, how can I humble myself to something I don't even believe in?
Yeah.
And he said, just do it. It's a repetitive cycle. Just
Interesting.
do it. So I would do it and started to feel different. And when I started to feel different, I believed that by going down into a submissive state and kind of just giving myself to something else and getting out of myself, I was trusting something with blind faith, whatever that something may be, and it started to make me feel different. Now, I'm the type of addict alcoholic that will sabotage my own recovery. So over a period of time when things are starting to go good, I'm thinking that everything is going to go bad. Like, this is too good to be true. Everything's going to go wrong soon. And the next thing you know, I would go into this depressive state, which started making me entertain the thought of getting high and numbing out again. But I didn't want to do that. I was absolutely convinced that I have no business going back to using and drinking. So what do I need to do? Started getting on my knees, asking God or higher power, I think I called it higher power at the time, please take me out of these depressive thoughts and feelings and everything I'm experiencing and get me back into being centered with you, whatever you may be. And then I started realizing, oh, I'm starting to trust something more than my own thinking. I'm starting to trust like higher power slash AKA God, right?
So, if you feel comfortable explaining, what did your daily practice look like? How long and how often?
Prayer,
Yeah.
meditation. Well, praying was a daily thing.
Okay.
In
the morning
In
and
the
in
morning,
the
I would
night?
definitely like to get on my knees and just thank God for another day. Tell me show me what's ahead, what lies ahead, and I would just take that into my day. Also, the meditation part. A lot of people meditate. There's a lot of different meditative styles, right? Yogis will meditate a certain way. People in, let's say, like martial arts classes do their own type of meditation. There's meditation camps and this, that, and the other. Me personally, I'm an addict alcoholic with a loud head. There's a lot of chatter that goes on in my head. I
Hard
could
to
never
stay
quiet
quiet.
my mind. So over a period of time, about 5 years into recovery, I remember that I started getting soundness of mind when I just actually shut off. I would treat praying as talking to God, and I would treat meditating as listening to God.
Interesting.
So I would kind of
Okay.
just imagine, I would get enough in a space, like I had my little area in my room where it was like my meditative corner. And I would go sit in that corner and kind of just sit, in a meditative sitting style, however you want to call it. And I wouldn't do the or anything like that. But basically, I would pretend and imagine if God had a voice, what would God say to me? And I remember like
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, I would, especially like when I was going through a hard time, it was
Yeah.
some kind of relationship stuff that was going on. But
Sure.
I would say, God, just talk to me. And I would hear a voice kind of tell me, hey, Pej, I love you. You're fine. Everything's going to be fine. Everything is fine. You're going to be fine. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Keep staying sober. You're loved. The universe loves you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. I love you. And it's like
That's amazing
when you start
experience, I'm
going
sure.
that deep into that,
Yeah.
with your eyes closed, you kind of go into like this spiritual trance, right? Now I'm not that busted, disgusted, and not to be trusted drug addict that's out there seeking the next fix or the next needle or the next pill or the next injectable or the next whatever. Now I'm like really paying attention to myself, not what my mind can put into my body, but more what I can put into my spirit, into my soul. So I like to meditate daily. I don't do enough of it. I really would like to more, but I feel
think
like
we all would.
if I do a prayer and meditation in the top of the day, I like to take what I get out of that into my day with me. And if I do, if I make it a repetitive process, I treat people nicer. I'm more in sync with what God would have for me. I interact better. I don't act on my character defects as much because I'm aware. I'm trying to stay aware, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to stay aligned with God, higher power, whatever you want to call it.
That sounds like a great way to start a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Pej, that was amazing and a ton of information. That's just about all the questions that I had on spirituality and the importance of it. Is there anything else you'd like to cover?
I think we're good today. I really appreciate you asking me these wonderful
Yeah,
questions.
Absolutely.
And it's so good to be on the
It's a
Sober
pleasure, my
Grind.
friend. What else do you have going on right now?
I think I'm going to go and walk my dogs.
That's great. Well, Pej, thank you again so much, my friends. Another episode of Sober Grind, episode 5. Going to keep this going.
Ask questions.
Yeah. This podcast is sponsored by and made possible by Beginnings Treatment Centers, a wonderful treatment facility that offers a lot of different levels of care. They're located in beautiful and sunny Southern California. If you or someone you know is struggling with an addiction, reach out to them and a friendly representative would love to talk to you. You can reach them directly at 800-387-6907 or visiting them on their website at beginningstreatment.com. We also have our Facebook community that we're trying to build and make as influential and as impactful for you as possible. It's called Ask an Addiction Specialist. We've built this community over the last couple of months to help connect you with addiction specialists. Maybe you have some questions for yourself or for a loved one, or just you're genuinely curious about the industry. You can join this group, ask your questions, and a specialist will answer it as soon as possible. There's a lot of live streams in there, Pej streams in there pretty quickly, pretty often. It's amazing. You can find it at facebook.com/groups/Ask an Addiction Specialist, or just searching for Ask an Addiction Specialist in that search bar at the top of Facebook.